Welcome to the 9:30 call. We are continuing our meet and greet with our Advocacy Network Cohort 3 members. So we're so excited to have Missy, Eva, and Jade here. As you know, the first question that we ask all 9:30 callers who join us is for each of you to tell us a little bit about you and how you came to be in your current role. So why don't we go Jade, Missy, and then Eva.
Oh man, I'm first. Hi guys. Um, I've been in the field for 20 years now, and I'm originally from Flint, Michigan. I moved to Boston 11 years ago, and I started off as an assistant infant teacher. Let me see. From there, I've grown into different roles working around children as a preschool teacher for many years. My most current role before I became a director, I was an infant teacher for 4.5 years at Biogen, Bright Horizons. And then I became a director. And ever since then, I've just wanted to advocate for educators and just everyone in this field. And I really, really love it.
Thanks, Jade.
Mhm.
Missy.
Good morning, everybody. So I've been in the early childhood field for over 30 years. So quite a while. I must have started when I was like 5, right? So actually started when I was in high school as an assistant teacher at a YMCA, and then infant and toddler has been my specialty kind of right along. But along with being in the early childhood portion, I was also a Healthy Families home visitor, and I worked in teen parent programs throughout my time, worked in a high school, an alternative high school for teen parents. So really focused a lot on families as a whole, and working with, children and families in that way. So did a lot with families working with the Department of Children and Families. My husband and I have adopted 8 children from the Department of Children and Families. We have 11 children total. So we have 8 adopted. And so we've been a foster adoptive family for over 20 years. So my passion is really working with families and children that are working within the system. So I'm currently a priority populations case manager for the Gladys Brigham Community Center in the Berkshires. So it gives me the opportunity to really work with the early childhood field, and also work with the families that are engaged with the Department of Children and Families. So it's a great position to have. So I'm really enjoying kind of working in both areas. So, and I absolutely still adore infants and toddlers are definitely my specialty, and I've been a strong advocate for the infant toddler sector for a long time. So thank you for having me here.
Thanks so much, Missy. Eva, what about you?
So I've been in the field for almost 20 years. And so I've taught from, Head Start to private school to Montessori and for nonprofits. I am a product of the RP3 grant. So I've gotten all my degrees through the grant, all the way to my bachelor's, and now getting my master's. So I'm very excited about that. I was a director for the last few years. And then I got the position here at Horizons about a year and a half ago. And it was everything I like to do. I like to do paperwork and all the behind the scenes things. So this suited me just great. So this is where I am now, the operations manager at Horizons, and I'm very pleased here. So.
And so Missy, we know you are in the Berkshires. So your program is in Pittsfield, and where do you live?
I'm in Cheshire, so just north of Pittsfield.
And then Jade, what about you?
My program is in North Cambridge, and I live in Boston.
And Eva, what about you?
I live in Swampscott. My program's here in Roxbury.
Great. And so let's talk a little bit about kind of how you came to the Advocacy Network and how it fits with the work that you're doing day to day, and what has been most helpful to be part of this incredible cohort. Why don't we start with Eva this time?
So how I came here is my supervisor, Jade Rodriguez, told me about it, and I looked into it and I was like, oh, this seems exciting because I work with teachers every day. I do a lot of my job is orientation, and also being a teacher that has experienced burnout is what brought me here, and what I do every day is I work with teachers and try to make sure that, you know, we're meeting what we need to meet.
And how has your experience in the cohort kind of been for you, and also like fit with your day-to-day work? So working with teachers, what about kind of with the advocacy angle?
The advocacy angle, getting my message out there about wellness for teachers, being able to go to the State House, and I was there for the Autism Day. It was great. So it goes in my everyday business of doing everything. We do a lot of policy here as well, so it fits right in. And I've enjoyed the Advocacy Network cohort. It's been great. It's a great experience. It's an eye-opening, and the experience is great. So.
And Missy, what about you?
So I just really enjoy learning more, more about advocacy, more about how the legislative process works. It's been something that I've been interested in the last few years, and we've had a couple of folks in the Berkshires and actually from Gladys and Brigham that have been former cohort members. And so watching them grow through the cohort has been really exciting. And then also being able to grow myself and learn more about the legislative process has been really amazing. But I think the most amazing part for me has been getting to know the other cohort members and what they do, the uniqueness of their jobs, of their positions, and just who they are as people has been really, every meeting that we have, just to learn about what they're doing, their projects, their jobs, and where they're going with things is just I take something from every meeting, and I'm just always like, wow, that's awesome what you're doing, where you're going with this, and who you are as people it's been, every time I come back and I'm like, these people are so awesome, and I'm so glad I've been able to connect with people across the state that I would have never met, quite honestly, without this cohort. So I'm very excited. I'm getting to actually go to Paula and Harold's program on Friday, and I couldn't be more excited about going to kind of visit and see the program with them. So that opportunity is very exciting for me.
Thanks. What about you, Jade?
I just love being a part of this group. I've gotten, as Missy said, and Eva, to meet so many different people that love and understand the work that we have to do every day. It's totally changed in a lot of these years, especially since I've been in Boston, to come from a different state as well and come into a state where the rules in education are so much more, I guess, strenuous, harder. I love being a part of this group because they have opened different doors with not only different community members in the area, but also different community members that are part of this group and what they do. Because early education and just education in general is really huge. And I don't think a lot of people understand those first few years of children's lives are pretty magnificent, and a big impact is done from what we do every day, especially the teachers. And the advocacy group has given me more opportunities to be able to talk to the teachers, not only my teachers, but other teachers. My sister is a special needs teacher in California. So we're always talking about different things. And although it's a different field in teaching, we relate on the same subjects daily. We're going through the same things. She's just in a different state with different regulations, but education wise, we're going through the same things. So.
And each of you have had, we'll talk about your projects in a minute, but you've each, somebody mentioned the word opportunity. You each have been very opportunistic and thought about opportunities that kind of presented themselves through, not just through the network, but in general. So Jade, you were here with us when I hosted the folks from NAYC from Washington, D.C. to join us for a little bit of an early ed boot camp here in Massachusetts. Missy, you took an opportunity to connect with the commissioner about an issue that you really have been working on. And then Eva, you recently did our Instagram takeover. So Eva, why don't we start with you, and then Jade, and then Missy. So talk a little bit about those opportunities, very different, but and kind of what that was like to kind of have the opportunity that you took for Instagram, NAYC, and connecting with the commissioner.
So I chose the Instagram one because I couldn't go to the other ones, but it was challenging for me because I don't really put myself out there. I like the behind the scenes type of thing. So it really made me stop and think about what I do. It was very hard, but I did it, and I stepped out of my circle and kind of my safety zone and did it. And I think it turned out pretty good, actually. It was weird to see myself when I saw it pop up, even though I knew it was going to pop up. So I liked it. It was fun. It was something out of my normal thing I would do. So
It's so much of what you just said, right? Like, we don't toot our own horn. We don't even reflect on what we're doing every day, and the beauty that we get to see every day. I mean, which we know is very hard work. So I just put the link in chat. And for those of you who don't know, Instagram, when the takeover happened, somebody kind of beyond, it's our strategies for children Instagram, but Eva kind of took it over and scheduled posts about her whole day. So we saw her from the beginning to the end of the day, talking about her commute, what was happening, really like a curated kind of visit with you through photos and descriptions.
yeah,
And
it was
Jade,
fun.
it was great. It was, I think it's such a way, we talk a lot about, like, you don't always have to be like sitting on a panel talking to people. There are so many ways to help raise awareness and spread messages. So, and then Horizons also was joining us on and kind of reposting and sharing the message as well. So that was great to see. And then Jade, what about the visit with NAYC?
That was so fun. I actually got to run into my old director, Patty, who works for Macy. I haven't seen her in forever. We were just seeing each other on the calls or just through social media like LinkedIn. So it was really, really exciting being able to see her. Then I got to meet Donna. So that was fun. And then Amy, I got to meet you in person for the first time ever. But to be able to talk to the people who are part of NACI just for that short amount of time was still inspirational. They were able to get different point of views from different people on where we stand within education. And I totally think they understood what was going on and what else they can do to be able to help us and the advocacy work that we do every day. So it was a really good experience to be a part of.
Donna's giving a little love, and please keep the love and appreciation going. We have all advocacy networks come on the call. We know that, you know, even we all get nervous, so you guys are doing a great job so far, and love for the 9:30 calls to show some love. And then Missy, what about you?
So I was able to you know, be in a meeting with the commissioner, and actually another director had brought up kind of a point around communication with Department of Children and Families and early childhood educators and EEC centers, and that is part of what my project is focused on, is kind of bridging the communication gaps and really improving the communication between EEC centers and DCF. And so I was able to kind of take that comment that the director made and enhance, you know, kind of that, and talk and send an email to the commissioner. And the commissioner is just so welcoming and so responsive. She immediately responded, and she talked about, you know, ways that we could kind of, you know, bridge that communication gap, and had some suggestions and ideas of who I could, you know, talk to. And it was, you know, it's really just, I think part of being a part of this cohort is one of the things that I think all of us have realized is that people are approachable, right? And you know, and you shouldn't be afraid to reach out to folks. We also had Secretary Tutwiler on, and you know, that was another instance where, you know, he was very approachable. And afterwards, I, you know, sent an email thanking him for being on with us, and I just happened to give a little bit of a personal piece to my thank you note, and he responded personally, being the busy man that he is, and just said, thanks for reaching out, and it was just I was very touched by his personal response, as I was with Commissioner. So I think the overall message is, these are people, whether they're our legislators, the commissioner, the secretary, they're approachable, and I think it's great to be able to just reach out. And so, I think if there's anything that I think we're all learning, is that definitely to reach out to these folks and tell your stories, and make sure that you're reaching out to them, and they will appreciate that. So
Right. So Missy, tell us a little bit more about your project, and then we'll go to Eva, then Jade. So just for context for everybody, every advocate picks a project to work on throughout the year. So we start meeting in October, we end in August with our reception for reflection, and they're working on a project usually that they've thought about, worked on before, but this just gives a little time and space to prioritize it. So tell us about what you're doing.
So I'm really just thinking about how to bridge the communication gap between EEC and DCF, and breaking that down into kind of the smaller community piece of, say, Berkshire County. And so I've been working with the Berkshire County directors, and we are meeting to say, what does that look like in Berkshire County? And then, of course, maybe thinking forward about what that might look like in Western Mass, and what that might look like even statewide, if we think bigger picture further on. But as we just all have the same goal, we want to help children and families, and we want to know how we could better communicate to help those children and families. And as we're working with these families, how can we communicate so that we're best supporting these children and best supporting these families? And what we've noticed is that we're not always communicating effectively to help the kids. So I've been so impressed with meeting with other directors about some of the ideas that they've come up with, and just one simple idea was, maybe we could come into orientation for new social workers. I mean, very simplistic idea of, maybe directors could come in at whatever that might look like, and come in and talk about what, the life of early childhood, and what our day looks like, and how could we better, work with them, and so that they understood what an early childhood day looks like, and what information would be helpful to provide, because I think the better communication is going to help us both. Right. So that is kind of the overall look of our project, but I think the directors are really going to kind of lead what the project looks like moving forward, but we have a lot of great ideas coming in, so I'm very excited about it.
That's great. Thanks so much. Eva, what about you?
So mine is about the wellness of the adult in the classroom, really the teacher, and bringing some resources to help them to at least reduce somewhat of the burnout. Monetary compensation is great, but also providing resources. So I'm actually putting a survey together to see if people are aware of certain trainings that happen, and where they can find them, and possibly even probably getting them where we can get more of them done, like circle security. If you go to look for that for the classroom, you can't find it anywhere except to become a facilitator, and that's a very heavy expense. So, but it does help the teacher. So I think that if we can get that sponsored by somebody, if it's something people really would like to learn more about, I know our teachers here enjoy doing it. I know during my facilitations with them, they like it. And I think it's important to give them that extra tool. And I think it should be to everybody, to be honest with you. And I just started doing reflective consultation, which is another thing I would really like for other people to learn about as well. So those are my ideas. So I want to put a survey, I'm putting a survey together, and then I'm going to send it out and see where teachers follow, and then we'll go from there. If people really want this, then we'll figure a way to knock on doors and figure a way to make it happen, hopefully.
Great. And Jade, what about you?
Almost similar to Missy. Mine is building and bridging a gap between educators and administrators. I've been able to speak to different directors, different teachers. I experienced different experience with administrators in the division as a teacher and as an administrator. So I've been able to see two different sides of the of how people feel. And one thing that resonated that I think I spoke on the last time we met as a cohort group, I said we went from, and I was, after speaking to my sister too, I said we went from first responders to now we're last resorts. And it shouldn't feel that way. And with talking to directors and teachers, you see that they're on the same page and trying to be on the same page. But then we have executives that were once teachers that have either forgot about how it was or how it is now, or never was in education and aren't trying to continuously help us. So that is something that every day it's happening all over the state, all over the world with teachers. But in Boston, I had to narrow it down.
Right.
It's pretty much the same. It's the same things that are going on. So I've been asking the questions, what can we do? How can we support them? I know for me, we had a group where some of us every day we met with each other after our work day, and that helped us for the next day to continue on. So we weren't bringing the heavy load of the day home and then having to do it all over again the next day. And it could have been having a hard child for the day to having a hard day just in general with administrators coming in and out of the building and not understanding the hard workload that we're trying to do on top of running a center like as a director or being in a classroom with up to 19 preschoolers. So every time I'm talking to someone, this project just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and I'm trying to figure out how to keep it
make it smaller.
Make it smaller, but it's not happening. It's
Right.
expanding more. So it's pretty rewarding.
I think that we hear that all the time, right? When people start with their project, and it can be hard to narrow and think, but and when you're dealing with people's real feelings, right? It's hard to cut it off or say this is the end of that. Jade, I have to also say, like, your background of being in a director's office, right? It's bringing back memories of me, like, kind of even the space that directors are sitting in, surrounded by stuff, and all the work that goes into just running a program. So in our last couple of minutes, if you had to give advice to folks who wanted to get involved or wanted to think about their voice or really follow a project that they've been thinking about, what advice would you have for folks? And we'll make it a jump ball. Anybody who wants to start can start.
Just do it. Just go out and do it. You have an idea, go with it. Don't even stop, think about it. Because if you think about it, you won't do it. Right. So just go for it. Somebody else is thinking the same idea. So
right. I mean, that's what we see so often. What else would you share?
I say jump on these calls. They're opening a lot of doors for people. These calls are really important. I know I've been resharing things, and when you send out the emails, I'm forwarding the emails. Like, if you can get on one call, I think it helps. That one call, you've seen the same people now coming on because of that.
Right. What about you, Missy?
And there's power in numbers, right? And so, build your cohort of people. Like, it is important to have your people and networking, and building those networks of people. And so if you're able to build that network, however it is, whether you're in the advocacy network or on the calls or whatever way it is, get with these like-minded. I mean, there's so many awesome people out here wanting to do the same things. So build that network.
Speaking of awesome people, I have to say there are so many cohort 3 members here, which is just wonderful to see the support. As Titus says, it's his favorite meeting of the month when we have our monthly meetings. Folks are meeting from 6 to 7:30 at night every month, and then doing hours during the months around their projects or other pieces. And just really appreciate you all joining us today. Appreciate what you have to say. And especially around this idea that we are human beings. You each talked about it in a different way. Jade, like humanizing people who are doing this work every day and giving space. Missy talking about kind of the elected officials and connecting and follow up. And then Eva, your work with teachers to think about them as people and their wellness and what that looks like, kind of showing up every day for so many other people. So as always, the inspiration that we didn't know that we needed here on the 9:30 call this morning. So thank you so much for joining us. I also want to give a shout out. We see Jayleese LeBlanc is here, who has been our program manager for the Advocacy Network. And Jayleese, surprise, we're going to have you join Siobhan on the call when we do our our final meet and greet. So thanks so much for joining us. We do know that Harold and Paula, we said it, are celebrating their 6th year. There they are, anniversary of Paula's Barn on Friday, where many of us will be. So stay tuned for that update. Otherwise, have a good day. Stay tuned for the House budget debate, and we'll give a quick update on what we learned tomorrow. Have a good day. Thanks so much.